Okay.
All right. So we're live now. Um, I'm going to turn off your camera.
All right, cool. Come on.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you. Hi, Rachel. We're live.
Okay, I'm just gonna mute.
Yes. All right. So thank you. Just give me a minute to. All right. So welcome everyone. We already have somebody. Thank you, Shay. It's good to have you. It's good to have you here as well. So this space is going to be about how you can maximize your earning as a freelance talent. My name is Oyinkosola and I am community manager at Blob. And joining me today will be Daniel Emeka and Rachel Akalia, two very seasoned marketers. And I know they have a lot to unpack, they have a lot to teach us today. So if you're not familiar, Blob is a talent linking platform where we link no code tech talents in particular to companies. So what we do is we vet talents and we onboard them on our platform. And whenever there's an opening from any of our talents or companies, we link them. So we're basically putting food on people's table, and that's what we love to do. So if you are here and you're not already a talent on Blob, you should sign up. If you check our bio, you would see the link to the website with everything. The website has everything that you need to know about Blob. So if you check our website, you'd also find the link to sign up as a talent. So if you're ready to get into it, please drop a comment, drop your favorite emoji in the comments, in the comment section. I can see Shay. Okay, Shay, it's good to have you. All right. So let me quickly introduce our speakers. Rachel Akalia is a seasoned, and when I say seasoned, I mean seasoned marketer with over 5 years of experience, and her work cuts across corporate communications, digital marketing, PR, and all of that. Daniel Emeka is also a seasoned marketer with a wealth of experience in not just marketing, but graphic design, and is also a founder. If you check the email that we had sent, you would find his bio and everything that you need to know about all of our speakers here. So here's how this webinar is going to go. I would hand over to our speakers very soon, and they would, get right into it because we're working with time. So Rachel would go first, and then I'll call up Daniel to speak. And if you have any questions while they are speaking, please feel free to drop your questions in the chat box, and when they're done, they would answer all your burning questions. So yeah, if you're ready, please drop your favorite emoji in the comment section. And I'll be handing over the mic to Rachel just about now.
Okay,
Rachel, are
can
you
you?
ready for us? Yes, hi.
Okay. How many minutes do I have? That way I get to time myself.
Oh, you have about 20 minutes to speak, and then you can answer questions in 10 minutes.
Okay, cool. So I'm just gonna share my screen so I can share like my
All right.
slides, if that's okay. Can everyone see my screen? Hope it's presenting now. Okay. Just give it a minute, a second. Okay, there we go.
Yes, we can
Can
see your
everybody see
screen.
my screen? Okay, good. So we're going to be talking about, I'm going to introduce myself in a bit. My name is Rachel Akalia, and I'm going to talk about who I am, what I do, what my growth journey or my career trajectory has been. So yes, let's just get right into it. But before we get right into it, I would like to ask everyone, right? Which meme, amongst all the memes you can see on my screen, which of this meme sums up your week so far? Oh, I won't see your comments because I'm sharing my screen, which is bad. But yeah, but just drop in the comment section which week meme sums up your week so far. For me, it's gonna be I'm torn between 6 and a 1, right? I've had like a pretty well, I wouldn't call it a stressful week. It's just been jam-packed with a lot of things. So, but let's get right into it. I'm sorry I can't see your comments. That's because I'm sharing my screen. So I'm just gonna get right into talking about who I am or introducing myself. That way you get to know about me. I know Liz did a good job in introducing me, but I'm just going to talk about my career trajectory and my journey. That way you get a little bit of an information or a background information as to who I am. So I've just listed my career growth journey or trajectory, and it spans between operations to relationship management, consulting to marketing, right? And for most of you who don't know, like I've been in the fintech and blockchain tech space for over 5 years. But 4 out of those 5 years, I've actively spent actually doing marketing. Why is my slide moving by itself? I am so sorry. 4 out of those 5 years I've actually spent doing marketing, right? So I've done 4 years in marketing and I've actively marketed like in the fintech and blockchain tech space. But I started off my career journey at Patricia, though I'd done like other side jobs before then, like prior to when I was in school and also when I was in school. I started off my career journey at Patricia where I handled payments. I started off as an operations lead where I handled payments. I was handling training, I was handling onboarding of new clients and new customers and even partners. I also was handling trading as well, trading cryptocurrencies, stable coins, and also most of the products that we have. And then setting up teams in different departments and also onboarding these team members and training them. So that was just what I did under the operations aspect of my role when I was at Patricia. For the relationship management aspect, so I called it relationship management because it was a handshake between handling, managing customers, and also managing partners as well. So I did a lot of that in my 4 years. I was at Patricia for like 4 years. So from at my 4 years in Patricia, I did a lot of B2B and B2C relationship management. I did a lot of marketing, B2B and B2C, because we had B2B products and B2C products as well. I handled a lot of partnerships, international partnerships, even local partnerships as well. I did a lot of product marketing for most of the products we had. I did a lot of came up with a lot of go-to-marketing strategies, handled a lot of PR for the founder himself and also for the brand, and also most of the C-suite executives. I did a lot of their PR. I handled the business brand comms, and I also handled customer relationship management. I managed a team that was a team of about 35 of customer support agents, and I did all of that. So between operations and relationship management that had all of this spans like this explains my 4 years at Patricia. And then in between when I was working at Patricia, I was also consulting for brands. I was consulting for fintech brands. I was consulting for like new startup founders within the crypto ecosystem or the blockchain tech space. I also did a lot of B2B to B2C consultations. I did a lot of consultations around payments for brands who wanted to get involved in the crypto space but wanted to facilitate payments through like virtual cards. I did a lot of that. Can everyone still see my screen? Oh my goodness. Okay.
Yes, we can.
Okay, cool. And then I did a lot of product formulation. By product formulation, I was involved in like the product ideation stage to the product marketing to the product launches and whatnot. So I consulted on that for like brands, other brands, and I will talk about how most of these brands reached out to me. I did a lot of blockchain technology consultations as well for brands within the space, those coming up and those that were, even still in the space and wanted like to get my input on one or two things. I did UX writing for not just brands within the blockchain space, but also brands outside the blockchain space. Okay, something is obviously wrong with my laptop, or I probably set it on auto. I am so sorry. And then a lot of user research for most of these products when I was consulting with the brand. And then finally that led me to like my career in marketing. So I've actively done marketing for like the last 4 years. I started my marketing journey or career in like 2020 February. So I've been actively doing that for 4 years, and that is what I currently do at Yellow Card. So I'm currently the regional marketing manager for West Africa at Yellow Card. I'd previously managed West Africa and I'd managed the Francophone region as well. And what I do at Yellow Card is I manage B2C products. And under the B2C product, that's when you have your retail, you have like your medium and large scale enterprise, you have other tiers of customers. So I find ways to like market to them to make sure I'm targeting the right audience, and I'm making sure that these customers are retained on the platform and they understand the products and services that Yellow Card has to offer. So that's what I do. So I come up with go-to marketing strategies. I also like find ways to do product awareness and also product marketing for the brand within the confines of my marketing role. And my job is also basically growth and strategy as well. So my job is to make sure the market I'm handling, which is the West African region, is growing. To come up with strategies as well that would help people understand what the brand is and what the products and services are. So that's what I do. That's what I mean by growth and strategy, basically. And then I've spoken about product education and awareness and team management as well, because I do have marketing managers under me. So I have to make sure that they're growing per time. I'm managing the team and making sure that their marketing careers are like excelling as well, in as much as they're working with Yellow Card. So this is a little bit of what explains my career journey so far. But on the side, I actually love traveling. I love exploring new places and experiences. You mostly catch me when I'm not working. You mostly catch me maybe reading novels or at the library. I'm currently running like my MBA program, so or sometimes you'll find me in school or maybe catching up on assignments. I already do have like an MBA in fintech and blockchain technology. That's because I'm like really passionate about the space. So I have an MBA that is focused on fintech and blockchain technology. But my second MBA that I'm running is actually focused on marketing strategy and operations, which is another huge part of my career journey, and I wanted to expand on that. I'm actually certified as the CIM marketer to push marketing campaigns for brands. So that like spans up a little bit of my career trajectory for certifications and like education, if that makes sense. Then I think we'll get right into it and talk about. I wouldn't necessarily bore you with explaining who a freelance talent is, or what they do, because if you're here on this call, that means you're one, or you're planning to be one, and you already know what that means. So I probably will not explain that again. So I'm just going to talk about why you matter as like a freelance talent. So why you a freelance talent? Your why you're a freelance talent is, it's really synonymous to you, or you're the only one that can explain that. You're the only one that can talk about the reason why you're in the field. But I'm just going to talk about why brands think you matter, or why the entire ecosystem think you matter as a freelance talent. So I like getting into numbers a lot, because in marketing you have to deal with numbers a lot. Between like you're reducing your CACs and also increasing your MAUs, you would deal, and even managing budgets, you would deal with numbers a lot. So I like numbers a lot. So I will talk about the upskilling rate. So about 59% of freelancers have upskilled in the last 1 year, compared to like 36 employees. So compared to like 36% of employees who are just focused on working with one brand, we have freelancers, about 59% of them, who are currently upskilling per time in the last 1 year. And what that means is that brands and companies and businesses know that you're important. They know that you have the skills. They know that you have what they're looking for. So this metric matters, this number matter, because people know that if you want to get something done, you have to get someone who is a freelancer, because they have a wide range of expertise, and they also have a wide range of skills, because they've handled multiple projects. And because they're handling multiple projects, they're always looking for ways to upskill. So that's one of the reasons why you matter to like brands, you matter to a lot of companies out there who are seeking to want to work with you. So just keep that at the back of your mind. And this was gotten from like the Freelance Forward Report 2024. So most of all of this data you have here are like pretty recent, even down at to this month. The other data that is also really important to me when it comes to freelancers is the fact that 1/4 of freelancing or freelancers, they are already employees. So what that means is that they're juggling two roles or multiple roles, right? So most freelancers you would see and mostly never stand alone, like they're not doing freelancing as just the only thing. Most of them are entrepreneurs and also freelance talent on the side. Most of them are part of the global workforce and are also freelancing at the side. So one quarter of like the entire global workforce are freelancers, and that's a huge number, and we have about 35% of them in Europe, we have 28% of them in Asia, and then we have the remaining percentages spread across Africa and the USA. And the reason, most of the determining factor for why people freelance can be maybe personal, for people who want to personally develop themselves, for people who want to gain more skills and also work on more projects, for people who want to make more money. So sometimes finances like are a huge motivating factor as to why people are, freelancers. So this was a review gotten like from the Harvard Business Review. So let's talk about freelancing and why freelancers are like really important and why they're critical to like the success of any project for coming from the companies who are seeking them out. So the last number, or the last figure I would like to talk about is the generational trend figure. And it shows that about 53% of freelancers are like Gen Zs. And this goes a long way to talk about to show that Gen Zs are like really motivated, and they're really motivated not just to improve their skills and expertise, they are motivated to want to make more money, they are motivated to want to work on more projects. And that's a really interesting thing, because that's like half of the entire population, 53% of Gen Zs are like freelancers. They are interested in what's out there for them, how they can come up with solutions for brands and make money off of it. And I think that's a really interesting fact. So we have over 40% of millennials who have freelanced in in the past year, which is also good. So Gen Zs and millennials, you would most likely see a lot of them, freelancing because they want to make a lot of money and also provide solutions to brand. But we have 29% of baby boomers, we have 31% of Gen X workers, right? So you can see that freelancing is gradually becoming a thing. It has been a thing for a long time, but it's gradually gaining a lot of exposure and a lot of hype around the ecosystem, and people want to get involved in it. And that is why we're here. We want to know how you can be the freelancer or the freelance talent that brands want to work with. So I'll just go to my next slide. So the next thing I have on my slide is the can't help but theory, right? So I call them my non-negotiables or the non-negotiables, right? But it's called can't help but. And I'll explain what that means when I get to like the last thing on this slide. So companies want to find the right talent for a role or for a project. It's a non-negotiable. So whatever brand, the reason why you're getting freelancing gigs is the fact that there are companies out there who want to find the right talent for a role, or they're working on a project, or they're launching something and they can't help but get somebody who is a right fit to bring that project to life. So that's always going to be a given in the market. That's always going to be a given in the industry. There are always going to be companies who need people to provide skills that they can pay for a project they're working on. So they can't help it. They just have to do it. So that's one of the things you should understand. And it also ties into the fact that you are important. They need you, right? So another thing you should also understand is the fact that companies are constantly in the need to solve problems, right? because companies are like at least most of the companies I know are like solution driven, aside companies, who have products and services, there are companies who are solution driven. And because they're solution driven, they are constantly trying to solve their customers, problems, or their target audience problems. And because they're trying to solve these problems, this is what keeps them in business. Because when they solve their customers' problems, their customers pay money or a price for them providing that solution. So in providing that solution, they're going to need like skilled people. They're going to need experts. They're going to need freelance talents like you are to work on projects with them. And because they're constantly in a need to solve problems, and if they're constantly in business, that means they're constantly solving problems for their customers. That means they're always going to need you. So this is another reason why, as a freelance talent, you need to understand why. You need to understand why you're always in demand, and you need to understand why you're always going to be in demand. And it just boils down to you finding your niche for you to get into this sweet spot that I'm talking about. Another thing I would like you all to understand is the fact that freelance talent, they need to fit the right project, right? And the right brands to get the right pay. So what I mean is, for example, you're a video editor, right? And instead of going for video editing gigs, you are pitching for maybe content marketing gigs. You might you might be skilled in content marketing, but your strongest suit is probably video editing, sorry. So it's preferable for you to build up a portfolio on video editing, showcase what you have, and then pitch to brands with the right project, the project kind of projects you're looking for, so that you can get the kind of money you want to get or build them the way you want to build them. So as freelance talent, there's always a need for people to find the right projects, for talents to find the right projects to work with, a project that fits their skills, that matches their expertise, that matches their maybe career trajectory or the growth process or pathway they want to follow. And then they also find the brands that are in charge of this project so that they can get the right pay. So that's always going to be a given. It's a can't help thing, that it's a non-negotiable, because as long as you're a freelance talent, you're always going to do that. So it depends on what you're doing per time and how you're finding your niche and the kind of brand you're targeting. And we'll talk about that later, right? And the last thing I want to talk about is that freelance talents need to present or pitch in a way that brands can't help but want to work with them, right? So in as much as you understand that brands are always going to need you, they're always going to want to solve their customers' problem and hence get you to work with them. And you understand that you as a talent, you're always going to source for brands that you want to work with so you can get the right pay. You need to also understand that you need to be able to present and pitch yourself or pitch your brand in a way that brands or the companies you want to work with cannot help but want to work with you, right? So always understand that. You need to understand that even if there are 1,001 people in my field, offering the same skills and expertise that I have or services that I have, I want to be the particular freelance talent that the brand chooses to go with. So have that at the back of your mind for whenever you're interacting with a brand or you're portraying your personal brand out there. So next slide, I am going to be talking about why pitching, stresses you out as a freelance talent. So people find pitching, by pitching, I mean approaching a brand and talking about how you can provide solutions to them, right? So that's what I mean by pitching. So why does pitching stress a lot of freelance talents out? So they'll rather maybe wait on a referral to like get their work done rather than approach a brand they really want to work with. They might see a brand that maybe is a sage in their field, or a brand that is an industry leader, and maybe want to they might say a brand that is a sage or an industry leader and then say that, oh no, this kind of brand will not work with me. This kind of brand doesn't work with people like me. I don't have the years of experience to want to work with this brand, for this brand to want to work with me, right? So you're just stressing yourself out over things you can have control over things you can actually fix. So one of the reasons pitching stresses freelance talent out is the fact that most freelancers are not talking about their authentic story. They're not telling their story. Your story is different from someone else's story. right? You might have the same years of experience as the next freelancer in the same space with you, but your career journey and your story is totally different. So you need to find a way to tell your story that no one else can tell it for you. I heard someone said, I heard someone in a webinar say that if you're sharing your resume with a company and someone else can take what you have on your resume and paste on their resume and it applies to them, then that means what you have on your resume is not actually authentic to you. It is generic or is generic and every other person can take it. So you want to be able to craft a story that works for you and you alone, right? And there are there are lots of ways you can learn about brand storytelling, right? There are lots of YouTube videos on that. There are lots of ways you can actually get into that. But you need to, for you to stress yourself less about reaching out to clients or partners or companies or the brands you want to work with, you have to find a way to tell your authentic story. You have to find a story that matches your journey and a story that only you can tell. And you have to find a way to merge this story to the skills and expertise you're going to be bringing on board to the company you want to work with, right? I'll talk about that on other slides when we go down the line. But then another reason why you're also stressed out is the fact that you've not listed out your impact. You don't have your impact also listed out in the right context. You've not brought a lot of scope as to what you're doing, and you've not scaled even the small result or the small wins you've had. And I'll explain what that means. So when I said you've not listed out your impact, you must have worked with, let's say, even if you've not landed your first gig as a freelance talent or a freelancer, but you must have done maybe, let's say you were in content management or you're a community manager, you must have done maybe community management maybe for a friend. You must have handled maybe a friend's page. You must have handled a family member's page or something. That is a work you've done, right? And that is something, an impact, the results you've gotten from doing that job is an impact you can tell on your LinkedIn, on your portfolio, on every other public channels you want to leverage. So you need to start listing out your impact. And if you've not gotten any impact, you don't have impact stories, you've not started on your journey, you've not done any freelancing gig, you can volunteer to brands to get that experience you're looking for, so you can have something to base your portfolio or base your resume or base your maybe your Notion dashboard on, so that brands would want to work with you in the future, right? So listing out your impact is interesting and important, but you also have to list it out in the right context. For an example, if you have a lot of skills, let's say I have marketing skills, I have product management skills, I have growth and strategy skills, I have business development skills and whatnot, and I'm pitching to a brand that is mostly looking for a business development freelance talent, I don't have to necessarily push forward my product management skills, because in that context, it might not be really relevant to the brand. So I have to look for what is relevant to the brand and base my portfolio on that. So sometimes you might have to tweak your portfolio to match the brand you're pitching to or the brand you want to reach out to. So that's what I mean by context. So you always have to apply context in as much as you're writing down your impact story and you're talking about it. You want to have context when you're pitching to brand. And I think I'll talk about that in later slides, but that's what I mean by context. So you've not listed out your impact and you've not done it in the right context. And that's why you feel stressed out pitching out to brands, right? And then you don't have scope. By scope, I mean, let's say you're a graphic designer, right? Or let's say you call yourself a UI UX designer, but it's only graphic designs, you know how to just do graphic design. You're not necessarily, that means you're not really a UI UX designer. You're just a graphics designer, right? So you also have to list out your scope. You have to list out your skills in the right scope. And another thing scope means is the fact that in as much as if you're situated in a field, let's say I am in marketing, I wouldn't say I have no business saying I don't know what copywriting is or I don't know what script writing is. I don't necessarily have to be a pro in it, but I should know what it means. I should have like elementary knowledge when it comes to it. I should be proficient even at the base level when it comes to it. So that's what I mean by scope. So if you want to be that freelance talent that every brand wants to work with when you pitch to them, you have to make sure you have maximized your scope when it comes to a particular skill. If you want to, like, there's something I always say: if there's gonna be, if 1% out of the very 1% it's gonna be picked, I am going to be that 1% out of the very 1% that will be picked, right? So you need to be that 1% out of the very 1% that's going to be selected. And the reason why, the only way you can be that person is the fact that you have exhausted your scope. You have max. There's even no exhaustion when it comes to like career. There's always the next stage. There's never a plateau when it comes to like career. There's always something else to do when it comes to every career space. So make sure you've maximized your scope. Make sure you've almost exhausted every knowledge you have when it comes to that skill or expertise that you're projecting yourself as, or projecting or pitching yourself for. Then skill just means is, what skill means is, you have done something which is your impact. You've spoken about it in the right context when you're pitching to brands. You have exhausted the knowledge and skills that which is scope. You need to share that. Like, you need to move to the next stage. You need to share that with people. So scale can also mean amplifying. So you need to share that with people. So the reason why pitching is stressing you out is the fact that you've not scaled as a brand. And when I say as a brand, you yourself, you're your personal brand, right? You're first your brand before your skills and your expertise. So you need to scale as a person so that pitching to brands, you're more confident, so that you're more confident about pitching to brands. And the more you talk about what you do, the more you have a better context as to what you do, and you tell your own story with your own authentic voice, and you have knowledge, you've applied knowledge, which is your scope, you will be more confident when it comes to interacting with brands and pitching to them. And the last reason why pitching stresses a lot of freelancers out is the fact that they've not connected the dots between their experience and the solution they want to provide to the brand they're pitching to, right? So um it's as much as you have a story, you have to find a way to connect your story to whatever solution you are pitching to a brand for, right? And that's the only way you would see gigs and not feel like this gig is too much, is beyond me, right? If you can tell your story the right way, every skill, let me tell you, every skill you've gained or you've garnered in the past years, or every skill you're going to garner in the next coming years, is going to be impactful to whatever role you take. And I know we all know that there are hard skills, there are soft skills, there are transferable skills out there. So a lot of the skills are transferable skills that you can move from one role to the other, from one project to the other. So you have to make sure you have garnered these skills. And there are a lot of them. So I wouldn't necessarily dive into them because that's not what we're talking about today. But you have to make sure you've garnered a lot of soft skills and transferable skills in addition to your hard skills. The hard skills are a given because that's what makes you stand out as a professional in that field. But then you also have to have soft skills and transferable skills, and you have to find a way to connect the experiences you've had in the past. What I mean experiences, I'm talking about the services you've offered in the past to anybody. You have to find a way to connect that, whether you volunteered or you worked pro bono for somebody. You have to find a way to connect that to whatever solution you're pitching to any brand for, right? But look for the one that is relevant to the brand you're pitching for. But I'll talk about that later on. Okay, so landing your first client. So my slides are like pretty much, I really don't want to bore you with a lot of things that you can find online. I am actually talking about things that work for me and things that I have actually done that, has been really profitable in my career journey when it comes to brands approaching me or people approaching me for me to consult for them and whatnot. So how do you land your first client? So I've listed what is called XYZ, the XYZ method. And XYZ method is something right? Because it's something we apply when it comes to our resume, it's something we apply when it comes to our resume or when we are working on our CVs and whatnot. You know how when you're working on your CV, you say, oh, I have done X, I did this, I did X, to gain results. I saw this problem, I solved problem X with to gain result Y in brand Z. So sometimes it can be like that when you're pitching your resume or when you're working on your resume. But when it comes to like landing your first client, what XYZ means is X means I have noticed an X problem. So when you're reaching out to a client, right? I'm going to talk about like your portfolio, your resume, the platforms, that matter when you're putting your pitch together, right? But the first thing you have to consider when you're pitching to a brand or when you want to reach out to your clients, first off, you have to find out if you have to be connected to the brand. When I mean connected to the brand, I'm not saying, oh, I don't know whether you know what I mean, but let me explain what I mean. When I say you have to be connected to the brand, you have to want to offer that service the brand is looking for. So whatever project they're working on, it should be a project you're excited about. It should be a project that motivates you somehow. Maybe it's the money that motivates you, I don't mind. Or maybe it's garnering the experience in that field that motivates you. It depends on what motivates you, but you need to find a link as to why you would enjoy working on that project. Because if you don't enjoy working on it, you're going to do, for lack of better words, pardon my French, a shitty work. And you don't want to do a shitty work, because if you do a shitty work for a brand, you will not get recommendations from that brand, or you will not get referral or even good reviews from that brand. And you want that as a freelancer, because that's what builds up like your social proof. I'll talk about that later. But then when you notice you're connected to this brand, you have the skills, that matters to this brand, you're excited about working on the project, you can reach out to this brand when you're pitching to them. Maybe you send an email, or you do the cold email approach or the cold outreach approach on LinkedIn, or you network with them, or you stalk them, for lack of better words. Please don't stalk anybody, but like when I mean stalk, I mean you follow up with them, and
Hi,
then
Rachel.
yeah.
Hi. So sorry to interject you.
Oh,
But
that's
I'm
fine.
just reminder for the time
Okay.
because
Ooh.
we have another speaker.
Okay, so I'm going to be fast. So
All right.
just when you're pitching to them, just tell them you found X problem, and you have Y tailored solutions, which is based off of your skills and services that would give them Z result, right? So I've noticed this problem on your website. Let's say you want to do UI UX for a brand. You can go to their website, check out what they have there as what UX writing they've done. You can say, notice the gap areas and write it down, and then notice how you can improve those gap areas you've seen. And then when you improve that, how that would help them land more customers, and or how that will help their presentation as a brand or their brand outlook. So that is what I call the XYZ approach. So that is one of the ways you pitch to a brand. That's one way that has been working for me, that you can pitch to a brand. I've noticed this problem. These are the solutions I can give, and this is the result it will give you. Don't be scared about brands taking your ideas and implementing it. Your ideas are just your ideas, execution is what matters. The way someone else will implement your idea is not the same way you, the originator of the idea, is going to implement it. So, and another thing you should also know is, if you had an amazing idea the last time, you're going to have numerous other ideas. So always make sure you are showing brands what, just a tip of the iceberg, what you can offer, and how that would make their brand better in a number of ways. So why should a brand go with you? If you've pitched to a brand, why should they go with you? You need social proof, right? And the reason why a brand should go with you is because you've shown them a lot of social proof for them to want to trust you. Nobody wants to give money to anybody that's not bringing in value. So, right, the first thing you want to do is you want to show them that you've gotten a proven track record of delivering excellent work. And one way that shows that is your portfolio, your LinkedIn, your resume, your website. For those of you that have websites, if you don't have websites, you can just have like a Notion dashboard that talks about you or what you do and the projects you worked on. That also works. Or you can have like a link tree that takes people to like series of multiple projects you've worked on. That also works as well. So you necessarily don't have to build a website for you to get this. So this is what shows like your proven track record. Another thing that shows your proven track record is that you have to show the brand that you're the right spend for whatever project they want to work on at that particular time. So when you're working with them, you might want to show them what budget you're hoping to work with them with for, right? Depending on what project it is. But you don't necessarily have to have a tailored budget all the time. It depends on the brand and their interaction with you. If they've moved past the first stage of conversing with you, you can go ahead to like tell them, oh, for this budget, you can get these services, and you can get this as an add-on, if you come work with me. So that's one thing that would make brands want to go with you. You can also give them an option when you're working with them for budget. You can say, oh, for this these services, you can get this budget. For this extra services, you can get this budget. For VIP services, you can get this budget. You'll see influencers do that a lot when it comes to their rate card. You can also do that when you're pitching to brand, but make sure the budget is tailored to what the services you want to offer to them that you found out when you're researching about the brand. And then you also want to show them they're a professional. How do you do that? For every single brand or person you've worked with, you want to garner, reviews or recommendations from them. So most of them that say, oh, you did an amazing work. It was great working with you. If you have a Notion dashboard, you can tell them, okay, please, can you can take a screenshot of what they said, or you can put a picture of the person and put their role and take their quotes and put it right there. You can have a full dashboard that is filled with, recommendations or reviews or social proof. Another way you can have social proof or recommendation is your LinkedIn page. You can have people recommend you when you've worked with them. So that's one way to tell brands that you've worked with a lot of people and this is their vouching for you, and also add it to like your portfolio when you're pitching that, oh, these are the brands I've worked with and this is what they had to say about me. So that's one way you can show brands that this is the reason why you should go with me. We're almost done. So your new strategy now, moving forward, what should your strategy be, right? What should your strategy be? Number one, you have to upskill. And by upskill, it means you're gaining more skills in the field you're in, whatever field you're interested in, and then you're applying the knowledge. So not just gaining or gathering the skills, you're applying the knowledge, because once you gather an information and you don't utilize it, it becomes, outdated or something. So you have to be applying your knowledge. And one way to apply your knowledge is by constantly working on projects. Get your hands dirty, right? By working on projects. So even if you're not seeing the projects that would pay you money, you can volunteer for like free projects. Volunteer for free projects and work on them, and then use that to build your portfolio and now start pitching to land projects that will pay you the big bucks, right? Then strategic targeting is another way. It's another strategy I feel like freelancers should adapt. You don't have to work with every brand. You don't have to work with the brand that freelancer A is working with. Look for the brand that matters to you, the brand whose principles and values, align with yours, and strategically target them, because you are going to do a lot of research on these brands for you to want to pitch to them. So you have to strategically target the brands. You don't have to work with every brand. Just work with the brand that matters to you. Now, another one is 100 pitches. 100 pitches means, it doesn't mean you have to do 100 pitches. It just means outwork yourself. Like if you think freelance, there's no competition in the space, but if you feel like, because sometimes for every single no you get, you must have done maybe over 20 pitches or 20 applications. So task yourself with doing a lot of applications per week, right? A lot of applications per month, per quarter, per year, depending on how you want to pace yourself. But do a lot of pitches to brands, but let it be to brands that you genuinely want to work with, and pitch to them. Because by the time you do your research and you've pitched to them and you're preferring solutions that would work, and you've worked before and you have social proof, there's no reason why these brands will not want to engage you if you're interesting enough. That's what 100 pitches means. Then amplify your work on social media. I think I spoke about this before. Amplify it on social media, on freelance job sites. Blog is one of them, which is why we're here. And then within your network. So in as much as you want to amplify to everyone, like talk about within the people around you, your family, your friends, your loved ones, talk to them about what you do. Because sometimes most of the gigs you get would be through referrals and people who know you. So talk to people about what you do, amplify what you've done in the past, be your biggest billboard, right? Talk about what you've done a lot so that people would know what you're doing. People can attach or signify you for something or assign a particular skill to you. And so when they have someone that's looking for that skill, you're the first person that comes to their mind. Then network. When it comes to networking, do it horizontally and vertically, right? By horizontally, I mean you're networking with people on the same age bracket, career bracket, peer brackets with. Vertically, you're networking with people that are above you, people that are beneath you, whether you think this person has been talk to almost everyone and anybody that matters, right? Talk to them. You don't even know when they're going to matter. And because people grow over time, someone that is a content creator today might be a regional marketing manager in the next 3 years, right? And because you've had a connection with them, you can bid for projects through them in the future. And then lastly, prep a lot. right? So if you've pitched to this brand and they're now interested in you, you don't want to get to a stage where you're talking about what you do and you're flopping. You want to talk like you know your onions. So you have to prep a lot. You have to understand what you do. You have to be able to communicate what you do, and you have to, speak like the professional that you are. And then when you finally do get the job, please make sure you deliver on the job like a professional would, because one bad job, one bad experience with a brand can mar 1,000, maybe mar 5 or 10 more experiences you would, or referrals you would have gotten through that brand. So you want to make sure you deliver on the job you said you were going to deliver when you did get a chance to like talk to brands. I'm going to end with this quote: trust yourself that you can do it and get it, right? Have trust in yourself. Like I said, be your biggest billboard, be your biggest cheerleader, be the person. Trust in yourself, trust in your skills and your expertise, trust that you can pitch, you can land a client, trust that you can land a job, and you will definitely get it, and put in the work that it takes to get it. And then I think you will definitely get it. I think that brings me to the end of my
Thank
slides on
you
my
so
presentation.
much.
I'm so sorry I took so much time.
It's fine. Thank you so much, Rachel. Thank you for all the actionable tips. And I like how you reminded us at the end to do good work because your work is going to
Yeah.
speak for you. That's just the truth. So if you're doing everything and you're not doing good work, it's a waste of time. So if you have any questions for Rachel, please drop it in the comments and she'll be called to answer on after our next speaker addresses us. So yeah, I'll be calling up Daniel to this stage now. Hello, Daniel. Are you there? Hi, Daniel. Are you there?
Hi, Yanko.
Hi.
Hi.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Apologies for eating into your time.
No,
Yeah. So would you like to go now? So yeah, I'll just give you the floor.
go away. Where am I going? Okay, so start of it.
Yes, please.
All right, guys. We have people listening, have you?
Yes, of course we do. We do.
All right, cool,
You
cool,
can
cool, cool.
see the live viewers, right? Yeah.
No, I can't. Though.
Oh, okay. I can't from my end.
Okay. All right, cool, cool, no, all right, guys. On a day. I looked at Lagos and December and everything me. Um, happy to be here. Love the topic. One of the things that actually got me interested in doing this is because, I started as a freelancer. My entire journey started as a freelancer. Now I'm an employer. I hated working for people. Do you understand? And that for me was kind of like what made me really enjoy freelancing. But now I'm an employer now, and I want people to work for me. Weird, weird of me. That's so it be. You know, the growth stages and stuff, and that also got me interested in the topic because I think the focus should not be on the amount you're earning. I could, again, this economy that we are in, everybody wants to be able to earn a living. But I think I would rephrase it to, making sure that you earn what you're worth, the value that you're bringing, you're getting reminiscent returns. Because the truth about the matter is that you might assume that the high paying client is going to pay you high. But in the real scope of things, that's not how it works. You might be happy that you've landed like a client like Chivita or UBA, and they'll be charging you 300,000 naira for something. So that's the way this entire thing goes. So you need to be um so that's why I said you need to look on the reminiscent value. So just make sure that you're positioning yourself. Now, so I'm going to dive right in. Since Oinko said that I'm a graphic designer, Oinko did not do justice to my
I didn't say you're a graphic designer. I said you have done graphics design. Have you not?
This is my intro, but it's fine. Um, uh, my life is on the internet, so if you guys want to check, but I think what one thing I think I'm gonna kind of like use that as an anchor because graphic design is where I really freelanced. That's where I truly freelanced, and I was doing it because I really loved graphic design. Yeah. Now, the reason why I'm setting this tone is that you need to understand very, very well that your foray into marketing should not be determined by, especially if you're going in as a freelancer, should not be determined by the immediate earning power. Now, while it's important for you to be able to know what value, monetary wise or financial wise, that you bring into the game, or you bring to your clients, or what they charging, what the market rate is for the kind of job that you do, I think the goal is to make sure that you're good at what you do. You're really good at what you do. Now, even back then, when I started graphic design, and I'm talking about 2007, 2008, I don't know how, I don't know, probably Oyinkan was like in primary one or nursery one at that time. What's it being? I like to, I'll use it today. Don't worry.
Oh
For the
God.
stress that you're giving me today, I'll, I'll tease you. All right. But that was when I knew I started my journey as a freelancer in graphic design back in 2009, 2009. And because of how good I was, a lot of people wanted me in-house fully. And back then I used to say stuff like, I could spend with the max I would spend in a place working full time for someone. It was like a year, then I'll go back into freelancing because I really enjoyed freelancing. It gave me opportunity to do as much as I could do, and also, but it was because I loved what I was doing. Do you understand? I think that's the first thing that you need to be able to check. Do you love it? Because it is hell, ladies and gentlemen. It is hell. Um, I'm not going to sugarcoat anything with anything I'm going to say today. Yeah? I'm going to give you practicalities because I have entered into all the sections of all the areas, all the verticals of this marketing game since 2008 that I started. So it is hell. Now, the only thing that moves you continuously is because you love it. People will use you. People will want to use you. People will try to use you. People will succeed. You will know people are using you. But at that point, you're now looking at, all right, so am I building my portfolio? Am I gaining reminiscent experience? So it now becomes a very weird value type of calculation. Do you understand? What I'm getting in return, is it about the money or about the experience or about my portfolio? And what I'm giving back, do you understand? Is it, do I deserve more? There's always this value conversation. And as a young person moving into the game, you're going to constantly keep battling that. And that's the reason why I like what Blop is doing, because they help with that experience. Do you understand? They weigh your value, they understand what you're worth, and they put you in front of a client, and they can help you even, I guess, you can help them negotiate. Abi?
Yes, yes, it's our work.
So there's a value thing going on when it comes to how, when you're starting. But it's a very important process in your life, because at that point, do you understand? You're not factoring a lot of things. You're factoring in the economic factors, your own fiscal factors, your own skill factor. If you need to grow, if you need to keep expanding, and like the last speaker said, freelancers are the ones that grow faster. Yes, because by the time you're paid 250,000 naira your last job, and you hear from your friend that but that same type of job I was paid 650. Now you will now start asking questions, and you now realize that, oh, there was something that she applied, or a skill that you don't have, or something that she did. Maybe she knows how to edit her videos better, or she uses CRM softwares. Something might just be the thing, and you now want to increase your skill so you can be able to charge more. So all of that stuff happens. Yeah. Now, like I said, again, all that is based on the value. So if you have all that based on the love that you have for your works. Now, so if you have all of that sorted, the question you now ask yourself is, how do you now attract clients? Which I think is the core of the reason why we are here. Again, you attract clients. One, let me give you gist. When I left, I was working for Hairs Holdings. I was working for Hairs Holdings, Tony Limilu's company. Yeah, the mother company of brands like UBA, Transco, and the rest of them. Now, when I left, him himself told the guys in UBA to call me and get some work done. Now, the reason why he did that was because of the type of value that he had experienced that I could bring while I was working with him at Health Wellness. Now, the reason why I said that is that the only way to attract not even high-paying clients, anybody, is provide value. There has to be constant value interaction. And the value interaction, I'm not talking about you speaking grammar and the rest of them. You have to be able to show results. How can you solve my problem? From the moment I meet you and from the things that you say to me, can you solve my problem? It's the first thing that you need to be able to, discuss, talk about, all of that. Do you understand? Now, say for example, you're a social media manager. Somebody is struggling with, engagement or content development or anything. Are you going in bashing the person or what the person has done, or are you providing an initial deck that shows, okay, this is where you are, these are the strategies and implementations I'm going to put into place for me to get you to this point? Now, that in itself is the initial value. And when you're just starting out, when nobody knows you, when you do not have that name that guides you, continuously and constantly creating decks, pitch decks are very, very important, because it gives an expose into your expertise and what you know. It is important. So learn how to create pitch decks. Very important. And how to sell yourselves. Yeah. Number 2, you have to niche down. All right. So let me explain. When people are looking for freelancers, it's always to fill in a missing link most of the time. If they are looking for a broad spectrum of solutions, yeah, they would naturally either go for an experienced expertise for either consultation or employment, or they will go and work with an agency. But if they are looking for a freelancer, it's always a missing link. So it's either someone is looking for a writer, not a writer and a social media manager, or somebody is looking for a social media manager, yeah, not a social media manager and a graphic designer. Or do you understand? Now, if somebody is looking for somebody that has all those entire skills, now I'm not saying that it doesn't happen from freelance level. Again, it goes back down to the thing of people who want to use you, but there's one particular skill that the person is looking for. So it's important that you niche down so you are identified as one particular thing. Are you a better writer than a social media manager? Then you're a writer. Are you a better social media manager than you're a writer? Then you're a social media manager. Are you a better community manager than you're a social media manager? Then you're a better community manager. Then you state it clearly. That you have all those other skills is fine. Do you understand? But you need to be able to state that this is who I am, and this is what I do, and that is basically where you're going to niche down on. One of the mistakes I made when I started my entrepreneurial journey was that I dabbled into many things and I regret it. And I feel like if I was doing what I did, if I'm doing what I'm currently doing back then, and all of this attention I'm getting in marketing is barely 2 years of me starting content. Barely 2 years. Now, if I started all of this when I started in my entrepreneurship journey, when I started my agency in 2014, it could have been a different conversation now when it comes to, clientele, attention, and all of that stuff. So, what did I do differently? I consolidated all my skills and all the experiences I had doing different things, and I just focused on marketing. And that my focus on marketing has been the best decision I made in my life. So niche down is quite important, especially in today's age and time. Is it quite important? Yeah. Then create a portfolio. Now, sometimes, as marketing people, we have, diverse functions, especially if you're a strategy person, a communication strategy person. It kind of feels like, oh, as a communication strategy person, how can you create a portfolio? Or as a social media manager or as a writer, how can I create a portfolio? You'll be actually surprised that you can. I know it's easy for designers or the ones that are into the creative space to be able to develop their portfolios because it's very visually led. But even from a strategy standpoint, even from a brand management standpoint, all of that stuff, you can create portfolios in the form of case studies on what was the impact of that particular job that you've done and all of that stuff. Quite important. Do you understand? So create portfolios, find ways to create portfolios. And these days you have ChatGPT. If you don't know how to structure a portfolio, it can help you. Then you go to Canva and you create it. Yep. Now, if I would easily tell you guys, build relationships, build networks. But my experience in the industry, I know that marketing people are one of the most socially awkward set of people in the world. It looks like, we are outworthy and all of that. We like being around that area where it's happening. But so if I tell you, okay, go out in the world, build relationships, build networking, that's not marketing people. They don't do that. Marketing people don't even visit themselves. Like very few. Do you understand? We like building friendships outside of our, this thing. But it's still a very, very important part of your journey. Now, how did I overcome mine? I think I overcame mine by building some type of relevance in my communication online because it helped me break the door. Like I didn't need to start explaining who I was or what I'm good at. So my online activities helped. Jumping into conversations and jumping into discussions helped. Now, everybody can be Daniel Emeka that creates video content and all of that. But you need to find a way to sell yourself. You don't have a choice. Especially if you're freelancer, you have absolutely no choice. Because the difference between me giving you that job and giving somebody else is trust. And trust does not come out of whether you tell me you're a Christian or a Muslim, or I see you and you are looking modest. You don't have tattoo, you don't have earring, and you cannot run away with my money. Trust goes beyond that. Trust is believability, acceptance, understanding of the person, knowing that this person relatability and knowing that this person can actually deliver based on what you can hear. Do you understand? That's how trust builds. Do you get what I'm saying? So it's never about looks. Again, even in today, thank God for Gen Zs. It can make me go into client meetings like this. So find a way to build yourself so when you walk into a room, introducing yourself will not take more than one sentence. Hi, my name is Daniel Emeka and I run marketing. Let's at least one person or two people or somebody say, oh, are you that guy that commented on this thing? Oh, are you that guy that dropped that LinkedIn post? Oh, were you, especially when, because marketing is very small. Yeah, marketing is very small. You'll be very, very surprised how many people you can meet under my comment section or under the comment section of a couple of industry heads on LinkedIn, or joining into the banter, like say for example on Twitter when there was a conversation about between founders and what's the name, between founders and marketing people. You'll be so surprised. Yeah. Now I'm not saying again you should be loud, but dropping here, dropping there, dropping here, talking about this here, putting your opinion piece here is actually quite important. Yes. So use that. So by the time you're able to get into a room, it's easy for you to explain. Or even if nobody recognizes it or says anything, you know what the industry is talking about. So you can use that as an icebreaker and jump into that conversation. So it helps you, do you understand, talk to people. I think that you need to be able to learn how to talk to people. And when you're now eventually talk to people, maintain relationships. Don't oversell, don't overdo. I think that's what helped me. That some people I've not spoken to in 4-5 years or in months, but I can pick up my phone and call them today, and they'll easily be chummy with me and talk to me and stuff like that. Do you understand? So make sure that you're, you know what, I'm going to end this in this way. Relationships are like foreign exchange. And what's the name of that thing? Relationships are like foreign exchange, like money, different currencies around the world. If you just allow it, yeah, if you feed into it, if you buy a couple of currencies and you just allow it, some will just fall if you don't invest in it. Others will rise. Do you understand? Sometimes you could be lucky that one just reason and the person calls you and just take that one that reason as a relationship or somebody's number that you got off LinkedIn. Hey, I saw your stuff. Oh, do you do this? Oh, you work for this person. I noticed. So yeah, come, let's talk. But that's how relationships are. But you can't discard anyone. You can't discard any of those currencies. Do you understand? But sometimes you need to be able to feed into some. Do you understand? You need to be able to invest in some, give to some. So and those investments can, again, like I mentioned, can be in the form of commenting on somebody's post, liking somebody's post, telling even somebody happy birthday. All of this stuff adds up at the end of the day. Now, let me move past that point. Yeah. Now, the second thing now is, how do you now pitch? Yeah. And this is based on the fact that you know your work, you love what you do. Yeah. You know how to position yourself, you know how to put out a deck. How do you now pitch? Now, I'm going to give you an insight into my very first job that I got on my own. So let me tell you how I did it. I went to LinkedIn. I started adding into the networks of all the marketing people, brand managers that I could find. I kept on adding. Yeah. And I had a pitch message. Back then, 2013, 2012, 2013, 2014, people were not as too touchy about DMs and messages and all of that. People most times respond. Back then people would easily add you into a network. Do you understand? Unlike now. Do you get? And I was pitching myself to different people. Then the marketing director of First Bank, when I pitched, she responded and says, oh, she has something that she's doing for her personal business. That can I help? And I did it for free. Yeah. When I did it for free, the next morning, I got a brief from First Bank. The reason I'm saying this is that sometimes when I go to say, oh, don't do work for free, don't do work for free. You had my own, so I do. And the thing is, most of the time when you're also doing your pitches, when you're putting your pitch documents and you're trying to pitch out to people, most of the time you actually have to do certain things for free. If it's analysis, if it's auditing, if it's developing of materials, if it's, do you understand? Most of the time you have to, even like right now, stuff that got me to the, I'm so tired, but I'm doing 3 pitches. And we are doing a whole lot of stuff. And when you're doing a pitching, when you're pitching, is you're basically doing free work to these people on how you can help. Do you understand? So you need to be able to. That's why I said value. At some point, you now understand how to measure value. Yeah. Now, when you're pitching, yeah, it is important for you to go for the obvious pain points. Now, from a digital perspective, you go to a brand's page, the brand, you go to a brand's page, the brand has, low follower count. That's a pain point, and it's an obvious pain point. So when you put in your documents and you okay, and this is how you want to grow their followers by this, to get their attention. Now, to get their attention in two ways. Even if they have somebody that is doing it in-house, they easily take it and give it to the person. There's that chance. But if they don't have somebody that can implement it in-house, they can call you and ask, oh, can we have a conversation? Again, those are the chances that you take. But it's a better chance of getting you through the door. Like I mentioned, you're going to do a lot of free work, especially when you're starting out. Now, the next thing I'm going to talk about is pricing. Blob has, again, like I mentioned, has given you, we give you that support, that guide, probably a consultation on understanding how pricing works. But it's also important for you to know, what is the average industry standard. Yeah, it's quite important. Now, understanding what the average industry standard is, especially for people that you admire, do you understand? Gives you an understanding of, all right, so if this person that I admire charges this X amount of money, okay, so I can possibly do maybe 20% less or 30% less. Do you understand? Because I'm starting out, or if somebody, or not maybe do, I can use that as a gauge. But if they offer me 20 or 30% less, I'm not doing bad. Now, the reason why I'm saying this is that a lot of young people, one of the things that you guys end up doing to yourselves is that you price yourself off the market real quick, real soon. You'll be lucky. You tell somebody, oh, I do this for $1 million, the person pays you. Maybe you tell another person, I do this for 750K, the person pays you. Now, the problem is that could probably not be the industry standard. You got just lucky. Now, the third person now comes and says, oh, but I have 250. You say, no, I don't do it. Another person comes, oh, I have 350. You say, no, this is what I charge. Fifth person, sixth person, seventh, then another 8% come, 1 million. I say, yes, this is what I'm looking for. You're lucky again. So you automatically now start thinking that that's what it is. Now, at some point, you stop being lucky. And every other person that's coming your way is not giving you industry standard. And you now start getting depressed that you're not doing well. And you want to start changing careers. And that's what mostly happens. That's why you see a lot of marketing people saying they want to go and start learning. Which one did I hear the other day? Security, cyber security. So one marketing person say she wants to go and learn cyber security. I was like, now it might be no. Some of us are still eating in this marketing now. All right. Then the final thing I think on this thing is, okay, on this area is, how do you now negotiate? Again, it's also important for you to know, like I mentioned, what are your the parameters for the work in itself. So for me, I have an understanding of the value of my time right now. You understand? So if you want 1 hour of my life, I kind of have an idea of how much you're supposed to take. Do you understand? Or how much you're supposed to send to me for me to give you 1 hour of my time. I have that idea. Now, but as you're growing, once you don't, you're using your understanding of the market to be able to negotiate. Yeah, I say this always. Once you have an idea of your price points. Yeah, but if you have an idea of your price points, your negotiation base is minus 10% or plus 10%. Yeah. Please do not undervalue or underprice yourself. Please do not overprice yourself. You know, you're probably not the only person that person is speaking to. Okay. Now, how do you now stand out in the market? For those that know me, one thing you realize is that it's almost impossible for you to find the replica of Daniel Emeka in its approach, in my demeanor, in the way I behave. I don't pretend to be anybody but myself. So authenticity is key. Yeah, it's quite key. And that's the reason why I can walk into any boardroom, talk to any, like me and all my clients. I mean C-suite clients. I'm very chummy. For those that know me again, if even down to people as big as Elumelu, when you see the pictures and you see the images, it's always this chumminess to it. That's how I am. And that's the expectation that they have of me. Yeah. But it might be different for some other person. Like, say, for example, if me and somebody else is in that space, they'll be expecting some type of, me to approach them in some type of way, while they expect on that. While once I'm done with them, the next person like giving a handshake, and they know, like, if I give the handshake, they'll be like, "Oga, are you all right? What's going on? Where is the Daniel Emeka that we know?" Now, the reason I'm saying it is that on certain level, all that behavior does not look professional, but that's how I retain my clients. That's how I work with them. That's the reason why I can work with. I worked with UBA for 5 years before we stopped. I've been working with Chivita now. It's going to 10 years. I've worked with tons of credentials. Now this is third year. So the reason, yeah, when you got to wow,
Hi, Daniel. Sorry.
time don't go again. I'm
Yes. So
calculating my time. Oh, I'm not even up to 30 minutes yet. Oh, but I started in
you
I
are.
started in 6:50. After 6:30, this is 7:17. This is fair. You know what? Let me round up.
I'm just reminding you.
I'll
Thank
be round
you.
up. I'll be round up. I'll be round up. All right. Anyhow, Sha, the basic hook of what I'm saying is that you need to be able to build some type of authenticity as a way to be able to, you know, stand out. If you're not authentic, you can't stand out. If you're trying to be like Daniel Emeka, you're just going to be a second best Daniel Emeka. If you're trying to be like any other person, you're just going to be the second best. So get comfortable with who you are and blow it. When I was a kid, they used to tell me I talk too much. Now that I'm an adult, whenever they say that, nobody even says that again. You understand? So it's just what it is. Yeah. Now, what are actionable steps that you can use in building yourself as a freelancer? I think that you need to be around people, find mentees, find people to mentor you, find people to help you grow, find people you can talk to. It's quite important. You can't do it alone. Starting the freelancing journey, some months can be dry. There's always the very busy period and so you have to be around people. That's the best way for you to just continue growing as a freelancer. Then you have to ask questions. Ask questions. Don't assume. Yeah, don't assume. Ask questions when it comes to even you doing the job. Ask questions when it comes to ask questions from your clients, ask questions from friends, ask from your people around you, ask questions from people that know better than you. Ask. Do you understand? Because one of the things that you also don't want to do is constantly keep revising on a particular job. Your time is quite important, so you can't be using another client's time on a client that you probably thought that you have finished. So ask a lot of questions before you start that work, so you can deliver quickly and close out on the job before you move to the next one. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, merci beaucoup. You can have your mic back. Thank you for giving me.
And thank you for coming to speak to us. Thank you so much. Um, Yeah, I think one of my favorite things that you mentioned is while we're here to teach you how to, maximize your earnings, it's also like very important to be sure that you can do the job, right? To be good at your job. So right about now we're wrapping up, and in the comments we do not have any questions. So I guess our speakers were clear enough. But if you have any questions, please feel free to drop it in the comment section or on our socials. You can find us on socials at Triblob on X and on Instagram. And also, if you have not signed up as a talent on Blob, now is the perfect time to do so. Like Daniel said, we connect talents to job opportunities, to companies, and we help them find jobs that fit their resume and their portfolio. So it's. I mean, you should be on Blob. Honestly, every freelance talent should be on Blob. So yeah, that's. I'll be ending the webinar now. Thank you so much, Rachel. Thank you, Daniel. And thank you, everyone that joined. Good night.